Raymond Hatton worked his way up from character actor to silent leading man, easily transitioned to starring in the Talkies, but then found his way back to character work again in the mid-30s. Why? Join me as I investigate. Raymond Hatton was born in 1887 in Red Oak, Iowa to Dr. John and Anna Hatton. We know that the family was Quaker and that at the age of 10, Raymond appeared in a school play and was immediately bitten by the acting bug, deciding he wanted to act professionally, even though his father wanted him to also be a doctor. After he finished high school, Raymond ran away from home to fulfill his dream, probably around 1905. After that, he appeared on the stage and rep companies and formed a vaudeville act that eventually made its way to Los Angeles in 1911. He also married actress Frances Roberts in 1909, a marriage that would last a lifetime. When his vaudeville act broke up in Los Angeles in 1911, Raymond, on the suggestion of a friend, decided to try motion picture acting. While this is a story that he told the Valley Times in a 1956 interview, Raymond has some credits on IMDb going back to 1909, but since most of these were biograph shorts, that means they were shot in Fort Lee, New Jersey, or in New York, so he could have acted in those before forming his vaudeville act and going back on the road. Either way, we know that he was acting in Hollywood by 1912, as he appeared in the Max Sennett comedy short Oh, Those Eyes, which also starred Mabel Normand and Dell Henderson. He appeared in many scene-stealing to supporting roles in Sennett comedies over the next few years. In 1914, Raymond began getting cast by DeMille at Paramount, where he would stay for the next several years in supporting parts in his pictures, including The Squaw Man, The Warrens of Virginia, and The Golden Chance, which gave him one of his first big roles to date, that of villainous Jimmy the Rat, supporting stars Clea Ridgely and Wallace Reid. His first real lead for DeMille came in 1918 in The Whispering Chorus, in which he played embezzling John Trimble, another villainous character that fakes his death to escape his crimes. Variety raved about Raymond, saying that he was the best in the cast and presented a remarkable characterization. As successful as Raymond was in this picture, afterward he more or less moved back to supporting roles for the next 6 years at Paramount, Goldwyn, and then Paramount again. Highlights included playing Honorable Ernest Wally opposite Gloria Swanson in Male and Female in 1919, playing Thomas Mugridge, the cook, opposite Noah Beery in 1920's The Seawolf, playing The Menace in 1921's The Ace of Hearts, which also starred Lon Chaney, Leatrice Joy, and John Bowers, and playing Gringoire opposite Lon Chaney in 1923's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He did have occasional leads during this time, including Java Head, in which he starred with Leatrice Joy. However, it wasn't until 1926 when Paramount began to team him with Wallace Beery in a series of hit comedies that Raymond really came into his own as a star, beginning with Behind the Front, which not only was a commercial hit, but a critical one, with Raymond sharing a photoplay acting award with Wallace Beery for his work. Based on the success of this teaming, Paramount starred them again together in We're in the Navy Now, Fireman Save My Child, Now We're in the Air, Wife Savers, Partners in Crime, and The Big Killing. In 1929, Raymond appears to have begun to freelance and made his talkie debut starring with Phyllis Haber in the partial talkie The Office Scandal at Pathé, which appears to have done well. He then starred in 2 talkie comedy shorts at Christie with Sam Hardy, before starring with George Bancroft and Esther Ralston in The Mighty, which saw him back at Paramount in his first full-length talkie. The film appears to have done well, and Variety praised his work, stating that Raymond Hatton contributes some excellent comedy nifties and places a deserved niche in the film for himself. In 1930, Raymond continued strong, starring in Murder on the Roof at Columbia with Dorothy Revere, Midnight Mystery at RKO with Betty Compson, and also starring with Evelyn Brent, Joel McCrea, Jean Arthur, Louis Wilhelm, and Blanche Sweet in the 1930 Silver Horde, also at RKO. Around 1931, Raymond began to find himself back in character supporting roles in A pictures, with many of these being westerns, a genre that would soon come to usher in a very successful second act of his career in B movies in a few years. He appeared in Woman Hungry in 1931 and Law and Order in 1932, both A westerns that appear to have done well. He also starred with Johnny Mac Brown in 1932's The Vanishing Frontier at Paramount, which also did well. He then supported Marion Davies in 1932's Polly of the Circus at MGM, and was one of the many stars that supported Charlotte Henry in Warner Brothers' 1933 adaptation of Alice in Wonderland. But, like I said, in 1933, Raymond began a successful second act of his career in which he would become one of the chief character actors that appeared in major supporting roles in a plethora of westerns, serials, and adventures for the next 2 decades at various Poverty Row studios, while still often finding work in smaller roles and A pictures at major studios. Highlights of his work during this period included over 40 more westerns with Johnny Mac Brown, beginning with 1935's The Rustlers of Red Dog, 8 Rough Riders series westerns as Marshal Sandy Hopkins in the 40s with Tim McCoy and Buck Jones, including Below the Border in 1942, and 9 Three Musketeers westerns with Duncan Ronaldo and Robert Livingston, including 1939's Cowboys from Texas. He also appeared with John Wayne, Francis X. Bushman Jr., and Jack Mahal in the 1933 modernized serial The Three Musketeers, and appeared with Jane Wyman in the hilarious comedy from 1937, Public Wedding. When television became popular in the early 50s, it comes as no surprise that Raymond easily transitioned to becoming a popular character actor guest star on a number of series for the next 2 decades, including I'm the Law, Lassie, Leave It to Beaver, The Donna Reed Show, Gunsmoke, Top Gun Will Travel, The Tall Man, and Destry. He also continued to appear occasionally in the movies up until 1967, when he acted in his final role as the elderly grandpa hitchhiker in the movie adaptation of Truman Capote's In Cold Blood at the age of 80. Following its completion, he retired and enjoyed the next 4 years with his beloved wife, Frances. In October of 1971, Frances passed away, and Raymond followed just 6 days later at the age of 84. So we are left with the question, why did Raymond Hatton transition back to character work after a few years starring in the Talkies? Well, Raymond had started out as a character actor, and his true full-fledged stardom in the late 20s was really the result of Paramount promoting his usual character type of role to being the lead in a picture. So it wasn't as if he was necessarily losing his stardom, but instead rather just kept doing what he had been doing best, and even when transitioning that back out of A pictures into B movie territory. I don't think stardom was important to Raymond, he just loved to act, which he continued to do almost right up until the end. Many film historians think that Raymond acted in over 500 roles over the course of his career, making him one of the biggest legends in motion picture history. You can find a number of Raymond's films on YouTube. On my YouTube channel, you can find The Ace of Hearts and The Silver Horde. You can also find other places, Oh Those Eyes, The Golden Chance, The Whispering Chorus, Behind the Front, The Mighty, Below the Border, most of his other B-Westerns, and a number of his TV series appearances. I must thank my sources for this episode: the New York Times, the Valley Times, IMDb, Travalanche, The Files of Jerry Blake, bwesterns.com, Virtual History, Find a Grave, and archive.org, and the Media History Digital Library for their digitization of moving picture world and variety. Please like and subscribe or follow this account if you want to learn more about the history of silent film stars whose stardom lasted only briefly in the Talkies. Up next, join me as I investigate the Talkie Career of Phyllis Haber. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.